So you've just cracked another oboe reed, but wait, don't throw it away just yet. It can still be a really valuable tool, even if it's not going to play. First, let's talk about some of the reasons that your oboe reed has cracked, so that you can prevent it in the future. One really common cause of cracks, especially with beginning oboe players, is that they are not very aware of the space around their reed when they're moving their instrument. They can look at their instrument and hit it on their shoulder, or put their instrument down and hit it on their music stand, or lift it up and somebody walking by runs into it. Those are all really common things with beginning players. Another cause of cracked reeds comes from the tying on process, which is what happened to this reed right here. So there's a crack that comes from underneath the strings, and it comes all the way up through the reed, almost to the tip. And I'll show you what happened with this one. So when you tie a reed on, you have your staple that looks like this. A lot of times they're cork on the bottom, but I prefer these metal ones with the O-rings. And you have a piece of cane. This is gouged, shaped, and folded cane. And it has not been soaked yet, so I'm not going to fold it in half, but normally you would fold it in half and stick it on the reed like this. But if this part is too thick, then it will crack. So the first step to tying on a reed is scraping the end of this cane until it's thin and flexible, and then tying it on. And when I tied this one on, the cane was not flexible enough to bend as the strings were tightened around it, and so it cracked. And this is a very common problem with reeds getting cracked when you tie them on. And if it just happens to be a small crack, like on this side that just goes up a little bit from the strings, it could be fine. It would be worth finishing the reed and seeing if it works. But once you have a reed that cracks all the way up through it, like this one, it is not worth saving. Another common cause of cracked reeds is from squeezing it. So a lot of times if the opening is too big, then players will want to squeeze it to make it smaller. But if the reed is too hard, or if it's too dry from not being soaked and you squeeze it, that will crack the reed. So why don't you just throw it in the garbage can? Well, a cracked reed that is already ruined is the perfect tool to practice your scraping and your knife skills without having to worry about ruining a good reed. My next video is going to be about proper knife technique and how to get those perfect scrapes. So if you're interested, subscribe and bring your cracked reed along to the next video.